Someone's aunt cleaned out a lake house in rural Michigan 2 summers ago and dropped 3 shoe boxes of old tackle at a church rummage sale. A picker showed up before the doors opened. He paid $8 for all 3 boxes. One lure inside those boxes, a crude painted metal shape nobody at the sale could identify, sold at a specialty fishing tackle auction 6 weeks later for $4,200. The other lures in those boxes covered his rent. The aunt found out about it at Thanksgiving. That gap between $8 and $4,200 is not an accident. It is a system. And it runs on your not knowing what you have, the problem most sellers have. The question is not whether these lures are worth serious money. The question is why they keep ending up priced at nothing and who benefits every time they do. Most people who find an old lure run the same filters without thinking about it. Does it look complete? Is the paint decent? Is it a brand I recognize from the sporting goods aisle? Those filters feel like common sense. They are also exactly wrong, and the people who profit from that are counting on them staying wrong. The lure with the clean paint and the familiar name may be a mass production model from 1984 worth $3 in a junk bin. The one with the faded body, the bent hardware, the shape nobody can name, that one may be what a serious collector has been quietly tracking on eBay completed listings for the past 18 months. Condition matters. Brand recognition matters, just not the way most people assume they do. What actually drives value in vintage fishing lures is a different question entirely. It starts with a manufacturing window most casual sellers have never been told exists. The manufacturing window. Between roughly the 1890s and the early 1970s, a concentrated group of American lure makers were producing tackle to a standard the industry has not returned to. Hand-fitted hardware, pressed wood and early celluloid bodies, glass bead eyes set into painted wood by hand, country of origin accountability, small production runs that were never meant to become rare. They became rare anyway because the factories closed, the companies were acquired, the methods were abandoned, and the people who built those lures are gone. Collectors know the cutoff dates the way a serious wine buyer knows a bad vintage year. They know which models got glass eyes before 1922 and plastic eyes after. They know which color patterns were discontinued before the war and never brought back. They know which hardware configurations were replaced by cheaper alternatives in the 1950s and which ones survived long enough to get copied badly. Casual sellers have no idea that conversation is even happening. That is not their fault. Nobody told them. That information gap is not accidental, it is structural. And it is what makes this market work so well for the people already inside it. Comment below if you have any old fishing lures tucked away at home. I would be happy to take a look and let you know whether it may be worth something. Here are the 11 lures that keep appearing undervalued, and what insiders look for that most sellers miss entirely. Number 11, the Hedden Dowagiac Minnow, early cup rig configuration. You have probably held one of these and put it back down. Elongated wood body, painted scale finish, multiple treble hooks hanging from the belly and tail, glass bead eyes, early brass hardware at every hook attachment point. It looks like a standard old minnow bait. It is not. The detail that changes everything on this lure is how the hooks attach to the body. Early Hedden Dowagiac minnows from before 1920 used a KUP rig construction. Small brass cups pressed into the wood body at each hook mount point. That hardware configuration predates the later L-rig and surface rig styles that Hedden moved to as production scaled up and cost pressure increased. Most sellers see the Hedden name, price it at $15 or $20 because they think they are being fair, and a collector smiles and hands them the money without negotiating. Those cup rig examples sell for several $100s in average condition. Documented examples in rare color patterns with original hardware intact have cleared over $1,000. The cup rig is the detail that separates the lure from everything that looks like it. Look at how the hooks attach before you put a price on anything. Number 10, the South Bend Basserino. This one gets passed over constantly because it looks familiar. It has a round nose wood body, 2 treble hooks, a concave face designed to pop and splash on retrieve, painted eyes, and a simple, sturdy construction. You have seen 100 of these in flea market bins priced at $1 each, and you walk past without stopping. Here's what you walked past. The Bassarino was produced from the 1910s through multiple decades, which means the production range is enormous, and the quality variation inside that range is equally enormous. Early examples with specific pre-war color patterns, luminous finish, or particular hardware configurations are in a completely different market from the later production versions sitting in those dollar bins. Red and white is the color pattern most people recognize. That one is common. Frog finish is more interesting. Luminous yellow, early silver flash, and the darker pre-war patterns are where serious collector attention concentrates. The difference between a common Bassarino and a rare one can be $300 in realized auction price. They look almost identical to someone who does not know the catalog. They do not look identical to the person buying them from you. Number 9. The Creek Chub Wiggler. Creek Chub made a lot of lures over a lot of decades, and that volume is exactly what makes casual sellers undervalue the early ones. When a brand was prolific, people assume nothing from that brand is rare. That assumption is expensive. The Creek Chub Wiggler is a fat-bodied wood plug with a metal lip, trailing hooks, painted gill marks, and glass eyes on early examples. It was a productive lure, and it sold well, which means it was produced in quantity, which means later versions are genuinely common. The early ones are not. Glass eyes on a Creek Chub Wiggler usually indicate production before 1930. The hardware on those early examples is heavier, the paint application is thicker, and the body profile is slightly different from what came after. Collectors who specialize in Creek Chub know this, and they buy accordingly. A later plastic eye wiggler goes in the dollar bin. A glass eye wiggler in rainbow or silver shiner finish goes in a display case, and it gets there by way of a collector who found it at your garage sale, said nothing, and paid what you asked. Check the eyes before you price it. Number 8. The Pfluger Palomine. Small lure. Slim wood body, hanging treble hooks, painted scale finish, brass screw eyes, simple through-body wire construction. It looks like every other standard minnow bait in a mixed lot, and that is exactly why it gets priced at $1 and sold without a second look. Pfluger was an American company with a long production history, and the Palomine appeared in their catalog across multiple eras. The early pre-war examples and specific finishes are actively collected. Perch finish is the one that comes up most often in serious collector discussions. So does the luminous pattern and the early mullet finish that was discontinued before most people were born. Here's the thing about the Pfluger catalog. Collectors know it in detail. They know which model numbers correspond to which production years. They know which finish codes appear on the box and what those codes mean for value. You do not know the catalog. That is the entire gap. A serious collector picks the right Palomine out of your dollar bin without saying anything, pays what you asked, and does not correct you on the way out. Knowing the catalog means you are the collector. Not knowing it means you are the person being collected from. Number 7, the Shakespeare Evolution. Here is one that surprises people. The Shakespeare name is still on products today. That familiarity makes sellers assume old Shakespeare gear is worth current production prices. It is not a mistake collectors ever make. The Shakespeare Evolution is an early wood body lure with a distinctive jointed or segmented construction, painted finish, glass eyes, and a swimming action built into the body shape itself, rather than added through external hardware. Early examples from the 1910s and the 1920s have a build quality and a hardware weight that later production never matched. Shakespeare went through ownership changes, facility moves, and production cost reductions the same way every American tackle brand did across the mid-20th century. The name stayed. The manufacturing logic did not. A Shakespeare Evolution from 1914 and a Shakespeare Lure from 1964 share a name and almost nothing else. Collectors who work this niche know the production markers. The sellers who price everything Shakespeare the same way are leaving real money on the table every time. Number 6, Moonlight Bait Company Lures. You have probably never heard of this brand. That is exactly the problem. And in this market, the brand you have never heard of is sometimes the one that matters most. Moonlight Bait Company operated out of Paw Paw, Michigan, and went out of business in the 1930s. That means every moonlight lure in existence is by definition vintage. The company is not coming back, the production is finished, the supply is fixed, and it shrinks every year as examples are damaged, lost, or destroyed by people who did not know what they had. Most people who encounter a moonlight lure at an estate sale see an unmarked old plug with a strange shape, faded paint, and no name they recognize. So they price it at nothing or drop it in a mixed lot. Serious collectors see pressed wood or early celluloid bodies in torpedo or frog leg configurations, prop spinners at the nose or tail, glass eyes, and color combinations that do not appear on anything made after the war. The brands that did not survive are sometimes the most valuable ones. Rarity comes from companies that stopped making things, not companies that sold millions of units for 50 years. Moonlight stopped making things in the 1930s. That was a long time ago. Number 5, the Heddon Crazy Crawler, first generation. You picked this one up and assumed the wings were bent. 2 metal wings flared out from the sides at an angle that looks wrong. Chipped body, dull hooks, paint rubbed off at the nose from years of hitting the surface of the water on the retrieve. You almost threw it away. Most people do. The Heddon Crazy Crawler is a surface lure with a pressed wood body, those distinctive side wings, glass eyes on early examples, and a 2-hook configuration that creates a specific wobbling surface action no other lure replicates. It was introduced in the late 1930s, and the earliest production versions are the ones collectors are after. Glass eyes are the tell here, and the same way they are on several other lures on this list. Post-war production moved to plastic eyes. The first generation glass eye examples in original color patterns like black shore, frog finish, and the early white with red head variation are what collectors want. Mint examples in original color with original hardware bring between $100 and $400 regularly. Here is the part that gets people. The worse the lure looks, the more important the box becomes. An original Heddon Crazy Crawler box in decent shape can triple the value of whatever is inside it. Before you toss the lure, find the box. Number 4, original lure boxes. This is not a lure. This is the cardboard box the lure came in. And this is the item people throw away every single time without giving it a second thought. Faded old cardboard, yellowed paper inserts, a hand-stamped model number on the end panel, color lithograph artwork printed on the front in the kind of detail nobody puts on packaging anymore, a small die-cut window where the lure once sat visible inside. You have thrown these away. Almost everyone has. An original Heddon, Flea, or South Bend box in good condition can be worth more than the lure it held. Collectors building display sets need the box to complete the package. A lure without a box is often worth half what it would be with one. A box without a lure sometimes sells on its own. There are collectors who buy only the boxes. Stop throwing away the packaging. Start looking in the closet above the shelf where the tackle was stored, in the old cigar boxes, in the drawers of the garage workbench. The box from 1932 is still out there. Most people walked right past it on the way to the tackle. Number 3, the Comstock Flying Hellgrammite. This one looks broken. Most people who encounter it think it is a damaged novelty item or some kind of homemade craft project that ended up in a tackle box by accident. It has an articulated metal body with wing sections that move independently, a dark Japan or bronzed finish, an early patent stamp if you look closely, and a hook drop that looks improvised to anyone who does not know what they are holding. The Flying Hellgrammite is one of the earliest patented fishing lures made in America. Its appearance is not a flaw. It is the entire reason it is rare. Harry Comstock patented this design in 1883. That is not a misprint. 1883. The unusual articulated construction was revolutionary for its time, and the production run was not large. What survived did so in tackle boxes and attic drawers where nobody recognized it as anything special. These lures sell for $500 to over $2,000 depending on condition, configuration, and the presence of any original documentation. The uglier and more confusing an old lure looks, the more seriously you should research it before it leaves your hands. Confusion about what something is sometimes the most valuable thing about it. Number 2, the Skinner spoon. Most people see an old spoon lure and assume it is the least interesting thing in the tackle box. A bent piece of metal, a hook, maybe some worn plating or paint. Primitive, functional, worth nothing. The Skinner spoon is why that assumption is expensive. Joseph Skinner began producing spinner and spoon lures in Lionville, New York in the 1850s. These are among the earliest commercially produced fishing lures in American history. The construction is simple by design, hammered or stamped metal blade, early hook attachment, no body to speak of. They do not look like collectibles. They look like hardware. What collectors know, and most sellers do not, is that the earliest Skinner production pieces have specific blade stampings, hook configurations, and finish characteristics that identify them within a very narrow production window. A verified early Skinner spoon in original condition is a piece of American fishing history with no modern equivalent and no replacement supply. Documented examples have sold between $400 and over $1,000 at specialty tackle auctions. The person who paid $2 for one at a garage sale in Ohio last spring knows exactly what they bought. The seller still thinks they cleared out some old junk. Number 1, the Haskell Minnow. This looks like something a child made. A hollow copper or brass body, hand-formed into a rough fish shape, patinated metal surface, simple hook hangers, heavy for its size, no clean manufacturer markings, no box, no paperwork. Most people would drop it into a scrap metal bin without hesitating and feel good about the decision. Riley Haskell made these minnow lures in Painesville, Ohio in the 1850s. Before commercial lure manufacturing existed anywhere in this country, he was not running a factory. He was making fishing lures by hand in a small operation that predates the entire American tackle industry as it later developed. What he made is not a primitive version of what came after. It is the thing that came before all of it. One Haskell minnow sold at auction for over $100,000. That is not a typo, and it is not an outlier from a category where nothing else matters. It is the ceiling of a market built on genuine historical scarcity. The lures that exist are the lures that exist. Haskell is not making more. The supply shrinks every time one is damaged, melted down for scrap, or sold for $2 at an estate sale by someone who saw old metal and made a quick decision. Picture a cigar box at an estate sale. Rusty hooks, bits of old line, a few unidentifiable pieces of hardware, and somewhere in there, a crude hand-formed metal shape that nobody at the sale can place, priced at $2 because nobody knows what it is. That is not a fictional scenario. That is the market operating exactly as it always has. The most valuable lures on this list look the least like what people expect value to look like. The cleaning mistake. Now here is where most sellers lose the most money. It is not in failing to identify the right lure. It is in what they do to it before they sell it. The instinct is to clean it up. Wipe the body, straighten the hooks, polish the hardware, make it look presentable before listing it. That instinct destroys value in a way that cannot be reversed. Collectors are not buying these lures to fish with. They are buying them as documented objects. The original patina on the body is information. The unpolished hardware is evidence of authenticity. The paint loss pattern on a lure that was actually used on actual water is part of the story the collector is paying for. A lure that has been scrubbed, straightened, and polished before listing has had its authentication markers removed. The same lure in worse visual condition, but with the original surface intact, can sell for 2 or 3 times as much. This is not intuitive. It is also not a secret among the people buying these lures from your garage sale for nothing. Leave it alone until you know what you have. How to sell these correctly. The people who understand this market do not post on Facebook Marketplace with a photo taken in bad light and a caption that says "old fishing lure lot." They photograph the body construction, the eye material, the hook hardware, the foot stamp if there is one, and the overall profile from multiple angles. They post those photographs in dedicated collector forums and vintage tackle groups before they price anything. They ask what production run this represents. A real collector answers that question in minutes. A picker who wants to buy it cheap tells you it is hard to say, probably not the valuable version, and offers to take it off your hands today. Search the exact model name on eBay filtered by completed sold listings, not active ones. Active listings are what sellers are asking. Sold listings are what buyers actually paid. Those are often not the same number, not even close. If you are uncertain, post in the Orca forums or a dedicated vintage tackle identification group before you do anything else. Describe the body material, the eye type, the hardware, and the color pattern as precisely as you can. The right person identifies it fast. Do not sell old lures in lots. Do not let an estate sale company price a box of mixed tackle as a single unit. Separate everything. Photograph everything. Ask first. The lure in that cigar box did not lose its value when it stopped being used. It lost its value the moment it left the hands of someone who knew what it was and landed in the hands of someone who did not. That gap is not a market failure anyone inside this market wants corrected. It is the condition the entire arbitrage depends on. 2 kinds of people walk through estate sales and clear out old lake houses. One sees junk, the other sees a checklist. The difference between them is not luck, and it is not expertise built over decades. It is knowing which questions to ask before anything changes hands. Before you price it, before you donate it, before you drop it in a lot, flip it over. Look at the eye material. Look at how the hooks attach. Look for a stamp, a marking, a name, even a shape you cannot place. Search what you find before you sell what you have. One lure is all it takes. The aunt in Michigan found that out at Thanksgiving. You do not have to find out the same way. Drop a comment and tell me which of these you already own, which one you inherited, or which one you sold before you knew what it was worth.